All right, everybody. I am here today with Rick Martinek. Hey, Rick, how are you?
Hi, Jan. How are you?
Good. Now, Rick has been in real estate most of the time as a broker for like the last 40 years, right? More than 40.
Long time.
It's a long time. Almost as long as I've been alive, Rick.
That hurts me. That hurts me. Not a lot, but it does.
Just a little, yeah. Well, we were going to talk about teams, and as a broker and being in real estate a long time, like you've seen a lot of things. What are some of the things that you're seeing? Like it feels like agents kind of rush into creating a team, but what are some like things that you could say, hey, look, stop and think about this before you do it? Here's some of the pitfalls.
You're right on. It's extremely important. One of the things is I've seen a lot of these partnerships or joint ventures, whatever you want to call them, end up with some people really getting hurt because a lot of times it starts out as friends. You meet a friend, a fellow broker, or a fellow agent, and you say, "Hey, I got a tough problem that I need some help with. Would you mind assisting me in this?" Perhaps it's their area of expertise or whatever. And it can do a lot of good things. It can be a lot of positive things for not only the brokers themselves, but also for the clients, just an exposure alone.
Right.
And it's always nice to have another head in the room that you can knock around and bounce ideas off of. But what's really critical and what I really can't stress enough is get everything in writing.
Yeah. Oh, what? What do you mean?
I know, right? You got to remember, I'm an old fart. So I remember a handshake was just as good as a contract.
Right.
That's not true anymore. But you need to spell out your duties, your roles, your functions, who's responsible for what. That way there's no question at the end. And I did a little research on this, and you don't need to actually record this partnership, just as long as it's done legally and has all the ingredients and all the information that's supposed to have. But spell everything out, right down to who's buying coffee on what day, if it's an open house, whose responsibility that is. Talk about budgets, who's going to pay for what, time in the office and stuff like that. That way it'll avoid any type of problems where someone will say something, well, I put more time in this, I should get more of the commission.
Or I've brought more deals or whatever. So it's like one of the best practices that I found too is if both of the agents like own their own LLC, then having those individual LLCs stay under the current owner, and then having those LLCs do like a new one where they're like doing business as or something like that, right? That way, when the breakup happens, everybody still gets to keep their like own LLC. So like all the money and all the expenses are coming out of the top line
Exactly.
LLC instead of putting somebody on yours,
Right. And it basically comes down to protecting your own ass.
Right, exactly. But I think like a lot of the stuff I've seen, it's exactly what you said. It's like, they're like, oh, this sounds like a great idea. Like, we really get along. Great. Like, let's do this. But then it's like, well, you have to figure out like, what if you don't get along? Or like, what if something happens to the other person? It could even be like you said, when you're writing things down, maybe like separate out the duties. Like this person's responsible for generating the leads and this person's responsible for whatever. So if you disagree, what do you default to? Who do you default to? Like what happened?
Right. And I think there should be a termination clause in that agreement, and how it's going to be handled by either party or either LLC or DBA. You need to discuss that. I'll get this all out ahead of time because it'll save arguments.
Oh my gosh, so much arguments. I think too, like there's not necessarily a reason to be like legally a team. Like you could date for a while,
It's funny, Jenny, you talk about that. It's kind of like this, these partnership agreements are kind of like a marriage in Hollywood. If you stay married so long, you get so much money. If you're with for 5 years, you get 5 million. It's very similar to that. You don't want to jump into anything. Just say, this is great. This is good. Like I said before, there's a lot of really good positive things. And I don't want to turn anybody off to that possibility, but just make sure that you've got all your bases covered. And that way you'll keep a lot of good business relationships, and you'll keep friendships along the way. Because to be honest, there's so much bullshit out there. So sorry.
There is. Yeah. I think the primary thing is like slow down to speed up, right? Like just because you know somebody, if you've never done business with them, people do business in different ways. and then there will be a time where maybe you're bringing in more deals than they are, or they're bringing in more deals than you. And like, it's like, why not just partner on kind of like everything for like the first year where you're not official, you're just partners, because to the public, they don't care. They have no idea.
No, they don't care. And they don't need to know unless they're going to ask you about marketing plans or something like that, or social media, who's going to put this out there. And it's kind of like one of your podcasts that you had before was sharing another real estate person's listings on your website. That was a pretty good, by the way.
Thanks.
And you're welcome. And there's a fine line there that you need to draw in the sand. Like, what can I do? There's legally and there's also ethically.
Right.
And I think ethics play a big part in here. When I first got started in this business, one of my instructors said to me, he goes, he says, you can't look at yourself as salesmen or real estate brokers or that sort of thing, or salesperson, I should say. I stand corrected. Geez, I got to get hip to this modern shit. I'm telling you, Jane. Anyways, it's like, we are problem solvers.
Yes.
And that's basically what we're trying to do, is solve a problem and hopefully make some money in the process, right? Nobody works for nothing.
Right.
So to find the best way to do that and offer our client to say, hey, look, maybe it could be something as simple as a job transfer.
Yeah.
Or in commercial real estate, it could be expansion. Somebody wants to go to a bigger building. Well, maybe that heavy industrial is out of my league because I'm light industrial.
Yeah. Right.
And maybe I'm right. So I think it's good to, there's a lot of very experienced people out there. And I think it's awesome that you can tap that resource and just say, hey, would you mind helping me out with this? I know nothing about what's going on in the other side of town. So
yeah, and you could do some deals with them without like joining forces business wise for like a long term. You could just try some things out. Or even like, I hear a lot of people are like, well, I want to start a team because I'm 5 minutes in real estate and there's other people that are only 1 minute in real estate and they want to learn from me. It's like that, right? They want to learn from me and then I want to make more money. And it's like, but you're not going to. Like, that's not how it works. Like, it's not easy money to bring people on. You know what I mean? And you're not a real estate coach. Like, you've been a realtor for 2 seconds. Like, it's not part of your business plan,
Right. There's nothing that replaces experience. There's a lot of people that confuse education with experience, and shouldn't do that, especially in the real estate field, because it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
That's one of the main reasons why I became a broker, is because I like to, and you and I've talked about this, I like to think out of the box. I don't want to be a standard contract holder where you owe me so much of your commission. It's like, well, let's just talk about this. I've done numerous first-time home buyers where instead of commission, give them all new appliances. Throw that in. But being a broker, I have that flexibility.
Yeah.
So that's reasons why I started doing that. And that was a lot of fun, but sometimes fun just doesn't pay the bills.
No, exactly. You got to make money too. So I think, so like what I'm gathering is just like, slow down, don't rush into anything. Think about all the things that can happen when it's not going well. And talk about those things. Make sure you talk about all the facets of the real estate business. And I mean, ask other people who have had teams or have teams currently, like what's going well, what's not going well. And actually, instead of bumping your head, like ask them and then take their advice, I would think.
Exactly. You're exactly right. I mean, don't be afraid to ask people that have been around the horn once or twice, because most people that I know will be more than willing to give you a hand and help you out and say, boy, I learned this or I learned from that. And you're right. Don't jump into it. Just take your time and learn how to walk before you can run, kind of thing. And, it's a great idea to do, but do a little research first. It's kind of like buying a car or a sofa. And go, look at the reviews on the internet and see what's going on. Because we all know the internet always tells the truth, right?
Exactly. It's Wikipedia is legit, and Urban Dictionary is a great source.
It's gospel. It's gospel. We have to believe it's on there. It's got to be true. Okay. But anyways, all kidding aside, I mean, keep the lines of communication open at all times. And if you do have a problem with a partner, talk to them about it. Say, look, I think things are getting a little lopsided here, or hey, I thought you were going to pick up that advertising expense, or hey, what about that open house this weekend? How come you weren't there, or so on and so forth. Just nip it out early.
Even putting in, like, especially at the beginning, like putting in things of like checkpoints, like for the first, at least 6 months, at least checking in like once a week, be like, is this working for you? Like, and making sure to keep that appointment. That's like one of the biggest things I see that goes wrong with teams is everything's going really good. And then they're like, oh, we're going to have like a team meeting, but then they don't have it because everything's going good. But then they want to have it when things are going bad. Well, that doesn't work, you know?
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You got to keep those lines open, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like project management in a sense. You've got to let all the players and the stakeholders know just exactly what's going on, and you do need those meetings. You do need those phone. What happened? Did we get any bites on this? You know, do you got any leads? What are the follow-ups, and what can I do to help you? And I think that's an important thing to say right there. Hey, you're stumbling over here. Can I take on more responsibility? That sort of thing.
Whatever it is. Right. Exactly.
Right. Exactly. So you're right on.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing your insights. I know if anybody wants to get a hold of either one of us, we're happy to help. If people
Absolutely.
have referrals in Minneapolis, what is the best, or they have a question, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
That would probably be my email.
Okay.
Would you like it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. Okay, it's martinek, martinek.richardm, as in Michael, at gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for being on. Huh?
Hey, and it was a pleasure. It's really awesome. I finally get a chance to work with you, and I was looking so forward to it. This is great.
It's great. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.